and I made him watch. Tell me how much you love this movie.
This movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Hands down, greatest movie ever. Like, Robert Eggers is super jelly of this movie. And, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
I'm being sarcastic.
fucking horrible.
Yeah. Pretty terrible.
This one was something else, that's for sure. It was...
I would like to go on record and say that I tried to get her to switch movies, like to just start over with a different movie.
It was before you even saw it, and I had already done the research and everything.
Yeah, but just
no
watching the pain in your eyes from having to watch this movie.
It was... Well, I have ADHD, so if my attention wanes, I'm supposed to go like do something else. So I like, get up and I'll walk around.
I know, but still, it's...
you make it sound like it was like Silent Night, Bloody Night all over again, and it wasn't. That one was much worse.
I will admit it was worse watching that movie, but just seeing your reaction to watching this movie,
it's just absurd.
Was,
It's mostly just the absurdity of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not the actual movie itself. I guess it's hard to explain.
Oh well, you live and you learn, I guess.
Yep. Hello and welcome back to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch weird movies. I'm your host, Dani Page, and here with me forever and always, the man questioning all his life choices after this week's holiday pick, my husband and filmmaker, Troy Allen. Are you ready to end the year with a banger?
Yes. Hopefully that banger is soon to come, because this one...
Did I say banger? Yeah. I meant disaster. An utter, chaotic, absurd disaster. Entertaining? Sure. A good movie? No, not at all. Mm-mm. This is one of the wildest movies we have watched this year. It could be in the run for number one, honestly.
True.
It really... The amount of absurdity and the plot to this movie and just the fucking wild ride that it is absolutely just... it's shocking.
I mean, if you've been a loyal listener of the podcast for the past year, you know that we've seen some pretty wild movies.
Oh yeah.
And this movie, there is a story there. I'm not going to get into the details, but the story is wild, and the execution of said story kind of fell a little lackluster for me, but we'll get into it here shortly. But yeah, I cannot wait to, watch a different movie just to cleanse my palate of this
cleanse your mind, cleanse your body, put you at rest. Put you at peace.
Man, you have no idea.
It was something.
Oh yeah, it was definitely something. And I just kind of want to because we went and watched Nosferatu a couple days ago. And I kind of just want to go back and watch it again. Just go back to the movies and watch it again, just so I can tell myself see, it's not that bad. Movies aren't that bad.
Movies aren't bad. Movies good.
Movies good. So, but there's plenty more good movies to come. So we'll go ahead and just get this one out of the way, I guess.
Yep. Our movie begins with some typical early 90s, late 80s creepy music. It's like that music you hear when you're watching like Goosebumps. It's kind of like, it's creepy, but it's got more of an upbeat to it. You know what I mean? It's like some scary 90s kid movie. That's the vibe you get when this movie starts. And we see some toys and a Christmas tree until one of the glass ornaments falls to the tree and crashes to the floor. And then we get a title card, which is Elves.
Right out of the gate, this movie already came across as like one of those made-for-TV movies. Mm-hmm. Like, could have been a Hallmark movie had it not, ventured into the genre of horror. But
yeah, it does. It definitely gets that like, very like 80s, 90s, almost. I don't want to say upscale, but like more of a bigger budget type TV movie.
Yeah.
Because the content of it and the quality of it isn't horrible. The acting is not the best, but it is like TV movie acting.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the night as well, Kristen, Brooke, and Amy are setting up a little pagan ritual. I feel that. Turns out Kristen is very anti-Christmas due to the fact that she didn't get any good presents last year. Wow. They then talk about how they're women and how like they're the quote-unquote master race. Also, Kristen has drawn the Virgin of Anti-Christmas, who is this curvy naked woman with like Art Deco boobs, which is pretty cool. But this is the person they're going to be like worshiping in this pagan ritual or whatever.
As soon as I saw these white women walking through the woods, I was like, this has got to be some like witchcraft shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yep, this is some witchcraft shit.
Well, they don't really get the chance to like do anything. It also turns out that she drew this like goddess in one of her grandfather's books that she's not supposed to like be messing with or something. And then, you know, Kristen just taking someone's things and like drawing on them is pretty fucking rude. Like,
yeah,
not.
I mean, you know, leave it to some like basic ass white women to be out there conjuring shit up. You know, just all around, just disaster. Yeah.
It's also mentioned that her grandfather told her never to go into the woods. Oh, I wonder why. The candle they have starts to flicker and all the girls like freak out and grab it, breaking the glass, and Kristen ends up cutting her hand and a few drops of her blood falls to the ground. And as the girls pick up and leave, a creepy hand breaks out of the ground where Kristen bled. Yeah, real topical. You know, I just don't understand. Like, they just happened to be at the right spot, right time. Yeah, so it's or like opposite of that, wrong time, right, wrong place, or whatever. But it's like, was the elf buried there? I don't know. It's never like fully explained. It's wild. Yeah. And it's one of those like little plot holes that aren't mentioned, or if it was mentioned, it was just so overlooked that it didn't become a like big part of the plot. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Kristen returns, and then we get a POV of something stalking the woods. Big surprise there. Kristen is smacked by her grandfather twice. The first for leaving without his permission, and then the second for the lie she was about to tell. Like, automatically just, like, he asks her where she's been, and he just slaps her. Like, great times. He's a fucking asshole. He then immediately apologizes and says because he worries. Like, that is some fucking abuse. Asshole. That's manipulation. Yeah. If anything, that's horrible. Yeah. He questions her about the book, and she lies. That, you know, she wasn't using it, was just looking at it and stuff. Mm-hmm. He then sees her hand and asks about it, and, you know, how sweet. I already hate the guy. He's a fucking creep. And I'm pretty sure he's supposed to have like a German accent, but it's a very bad German accent. Yeah, I caught on that too, because like I don't know. The funny thing about this part for me was we had to watch this movie on YouTube. Yeah. And this copy, I guess, was clearly ripped off of a VHS. Yes. And then during this scene, you could see like, you know how the ripples and the tape would just kind of fuck up or glitch or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And then which kind of just set the tone for the rest of the movie. And but yeah, the grandfather, he definitely comes across as somebody not to be trusted. No, definitely not. Kristen's mom berates her about going into her grandfather's room and messing with his stuff. Then this bitch, she tells Kristen that she's going to close her savings account, taking Kristen's money. Dude, what the actual fuck? This family is fucking horrible. Dude, the mom. Bro, fuck this bitch, dude. If I was there, I would have stabbed this bitch.
Just shank her.
She's a horrible person.
Terrible fucking person.
Which there's reasons for that, obviously, but damn.
True.
Like, you don't got to be that way.
No.
There are a million other ways you could treat the situation, and you're just an abusive, manipulating person, just like your father.
Right. And this is just scratching the surface of what this bitch is going to do.
Yep. Then, after taking a shower, Kristen's little brother peeps on her. This whole scene with her brother is fucking weird. It's fucking awful. Mm-hmm. He tells her that she has big fucking tits, and that he's going to tell everyone that he saw them. Hay then continues to tell her that their mom said he's going to get all her money. This family is horrible. I'm going to say it again. It's fucking horrible.
Dude,
this
fucking
kid, crip, like
fucking pervert, dude.
Creep. Just it, and it kind of like foreshadows a little bit about the movie itself and what's happening within this family. But still, it was really just weird and like uncomfortable to watch this whole like moment. Then Kristen in bed complains to her cat, Agamemnon, who is the ancient Greek king of, Messene. I think it's how Mycenae.
Mycenae.
I think it's something like that. But he, it's a real Greek thing. She tells the cat she doesn't care that it's a girl and that she got pregnant, but just tells her not to run off with the father. Also, the creepy monster thing has been sneaking around the house and breaking into the basement. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the elf.
Yeah, as one would do,
The creature then sneaks to the little brother's room and attacks him, who screams and wakes up the mom and his sister. He tries to explain that it was a little ninja troll, is how he describes it, that attacked him, but the mom blames Agamemnon, or Aggie, as they also call him, or her. Kristen then grabs the cat and they leave the kid to go back to sleep.
Yeah. A little ninja dude creeping through your window? Nope. It was the cat.
It was a cat, which it turned out Aggie actually had protected the boy from the elf.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Got to give props to my boy, or my girl, Aggie.
Yeah. Augie. I think it's pronounced Augie, maybe.
Agamemnon.
Yeah. The next day, Kristen complains about her mother to Brooke and Amy. She then takes a break with the girls to go goof on Santa, is what they say they're going to do.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
What do you mean by that, goof?
I don't know what exactly they meant.
I don't know, but I feel like they're a little bit too old to be goofing.
Yeah, well, some people keep doing that, like they think it's like a joke to go sit on an old man's lap. It's a strange thing.
Yep.
Somewhere else in the mall or this department store, Mike, a down on his luck ex-cop, asks his friend, who is the manager of the department store, for help to find a job. Back at Christian's house, her mom is being a raging bitch, and she wraps up Agamemnon in a sack. We jump back to Kristen and her friends as she sits on Santa's lap, and they grew through the process. You know how it goes. They sit on the lap and Santa asks, what do you want for Christmas? That whole thing. And Kristen says, for it not to be Christmas. And then she asks for snow. The Santa then mumbles something to her while he's filling up her thigh. She says, asks him, what did you say? And he says, Santa said oral. And Kristen pushes him off and slaps him. Just.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, I don't know. This Santa was all obviously a creep.
Oh yeah.
Because before she sits in his lap, there was a little kid that sat in his lap, and the kid was or he asked, "What do you want, little kid?" And he's like, "A Nintendo." And it's like, that's great. They're on sale today in the basement. Today only. You know, he's like, okay, cool, man.
He sent that kid to the basement.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was the name of the store or whatever. But being Santa and you're just trying to fucking upsell. Shit.
Make money for the department store. That's the point, right?
Right. But yeah, she was way too old to be sitting in Santa's lap. Anyways, I'm not.
That's the point.
Right.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Back at the house, Kristen's mom drowns Agamemnon in the toilet.
Yep. Yeah.
She drowned a pregnant cat in a fucking toilet.
Yep. I was like, bro, kill that fucking woman right now. Like, if you fuck with me, God, you kill that fucking woman right now, bro.
Smite her. I mean, she deserves, like, that's fucking, like, not only are you going to drown and kill this cat, but in the toilet?
Yeah, dude.
That's so fucked.
It is.
And that was that's obviously a purpose for us to feel this way.
Like, but you didn't have to go to such great lengths for me to hate this woman. Like,
I mean, she was already doing a great job without killing the cat.
Like, I kind of hated her already. So,
jump back to the store, and Christian has told the manager, Hugh, about the Santa accident. And he tells Santa to take a break and tells Christian she's lucky he doesn't fire them both. Because, you know, Santa is for the customers and not for the employees. Mm-hmm. So, back at the house, the mom begins to bury the cat. And she calls Agamemnon fertilizer. I was so pissed. I was so pissed watching this. I hate this movie, but I know at this point something horrible and well-deserved is going to happen to this lady. And I just want to see it happen. Because fuck this lady is what I wrote. We're 15 minutes into this movie. Just 15 minutes. The movie is like an hour and a half. And so much has happened within 15 minutes.
And don't fret. She gets what's coming to her.
Yeah, we're getting it. Yeah, she gets what she gets.
Yep.
Anyways, back at the store, Santa has cut him a few lines of that Florida snow. But when he leans in, his fake beard just brushes it everywhere. The small monster elf creature then stabs this man in his dick and kills him. So we're starting to see a pattern here of the creature's victims. Like, if you have a personal encounter with Kristen, monster's coming after you. The elf is gonna get you.
Well, I was like, Santa was stabbed in what I can only imagine was his penis. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The picture was too grainy. Because, like, in that scene, or in that shot.
In between his legs.
Yeah. But all the red, like, I don't know. It was like the exposure levels were all fucked up. So it was like you lost any detail of what was happening. But then later on, you see, like, he was stabbed in the nuts.
He was stabbed in the nuts.
Just
after some time, the manager has someone go look for Santa, and he is found with his nuts cut off. The detective immediately tries to blame Christian for this guy's murder.
Yeah. This is some, like, fucking Seattle PD fucking Kurt Cobain death type police work, you know, like.
Blame the nearest person.
Yeah, like, man,
you were here. Must have been you.
Oh, what do you mean the door was locked from the inside and all that stuff like that? Oh well. Well, that's fine.
When Christian gets home, she immediately calls out to Aggie. My God. I hate this. Christian's mom tells her she hasn't seen the cat all day. Bitch. Horrible bitch.
I mean, fine. I hope our listeners and us can find solace in the fact that she's gonna get hers. She'll get her what's due, you know. So I mean,
it could have been better.
Could have been.
Excuse me. There's a sequence of shots that are short but kind of have like important information. Our guy Mike arrives home to his trailer and he has been evicted. Oof. Christian's still looking for Aggie. The creature plays in the dirt. Yeah. And then Christian's hand has healed itself after being cut by the glass of the candle. Kristen wakes up in the middle of the night because she thinks she hears Agamemnon, but it's actually the elf at the window. And Kristen tries to explain what she saw to her mom, and her mom says it was just like a raccoon. Her grandmother then questions something that she drew. It doesn't show us what she drew. I think it probably was the version of Anti-Christmas, maybe. And questions what she saw, yada, yada, yada. He's getting kind of freaked out. The mom sends Christian to bed, And when they are gone all alone, the grandfather starts to freak out on the mom and she tells him to stop talking about the elves. He then blames the death of the cat on the elves, but she then confesses that it was her who killed the cat. And he's like, ooh.
Well,
like, oof.
So when we see the elf in the window, he's actually like waving Agamemnon's corpse in the window.
Is it? It was so small. I couldn't make it out.
Yeah.
Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I think so. Like, that's what it looked like to me. So
it just looked like wet and kind of slimy.
Yeah. But that was pretty fucked up, though.
Yeah, it was really fucked up.
Also, with Mike getting evicted out of his camper, I was like, how do you get evicted from a camper?
You don't own the camper, I guess. Like, it's just a rental camper.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
But you could kind of just like hook up to it and go, like if you wanted to.
Yeah. But you know, movie magic. Listen, it doesn't have to make sense to be a movie. You just gotta shoot the shit and that's it.
Some things you cannot fix in post, such as the story or the plot, you know.
No, some things are just not fixable, like at all in movies. It's shot and it's forever in time.
Fuck it, we'll just pretend it never happened.
Yeah. The grandfather then wraps up a piece of this gold or something. It's very unclear what this is. So I didn't know at the time. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be part of the plot, that you don't realize what it is, but yeah. The next morning, Mike is at the snack bar where Christian's working, and they begin to have like sob stories. They exchange sob stories. Like, there's this back and forth of their problems. Like, who's having this shittier type of day kind of thing? That's just back and forth. The department manager, Hugh, then bursts in on the scene and asks Mike if he still wants a job. And of course he does. And Mike is the new Santa.
Yay.
After dealing with a crying baby, Mike is back where the last Santa had died in the back room and is studying the scene. And he notices a symbol etched into the cement. Also, the body outline is still there. Like, listeners, it would not be a late 80s or 90s movie without a body outline in this white tape. Anyway, Mike is just like, not my problem. It goes back to work.
Like, could you imagine taking a job, like getting a job offer, and like you on your first day, the fucking chalk outline or the tape outline of the guy that had the job is still on the floor? Like,
yeah. Well, he's an ex-cop, ex-detective, so it's kind of like something he's seen before. So I guess it wouldn't really be a big deal.
Capitalism.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Even Santa is not impervious to the ways of capitalism.
No. Dead guy? Who cares? That's not my problem. I'm going to go back to work and get this bag. That's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Back at the house, the grandfather is visited by some guys that somehow know about the elves. And they don't have names, by the way. And this one guy says this one line. And I had to stop and take a moment. Because this guy fucking says, when there is no more room in hell, the elves will walk the earth. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wasn't that a line from like Dawn of the Dead or something like that?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it is a passage in the Bible.
Probably.
Yeah, but it's the dead will walk the earth or something is the original line. Right. Just oof. The guy then slips the grandfather a piece of this something again. And he studies it and freaks out and then grabs a gun. The guy then sees a photo, the other German guy, the one visiting, sees a photo of Christian and makes some comments about her. And the grandfather tells him she'll have nothing to do with it. And then the guy just unarms him. He literally just takes the gun from him. It's super exciting. The guy then says that through her, they will grow the new order. That's right. They're fucking Nazis, folks. We got Nazis in the story.
Ta-da.
God damn it. It's always Nazis.
I would like to go ahead and say that I did not catch that part. So I did not realize the Nazi thing until much, much later in the movie.
Nope. They Nazis.
And honestly, at this point, like the whole plot's off the rails. Like, who is watching this movie still? And I think that
us.
I have seen, because in the comments section of this fucking YouTube movie, like a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, I love this movie. This is a classic. We watch this every year." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
Because it's absurd. That's the whole point of like liking B movies and stuff. It's because the movies turned out to be so strange, absurd, and just campy that it's entertaining for us.
Right.
Like I didn't hate this movie. I think it's a disaster, but it's so entertaining. It's like just hilarious in very strange ways. It's hard to explain the appeal of horrible B movies.
Right. It does a really great job of keeping you guessing. Like,
yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, I didn't know like the whole Nazi thing. I did not see coming.
Yeah.
So I did not see coming. Yeah. Anyways, I did that just now, so we'll continue on.
You're keeping that in. And it's staying in. Kristen is getting ready to leave work and discuss her plans with Brooke and Amy. And they plan to sneak back into the department store at night to fool around with some guys. Also turns out she is being followed by one of the Nazi guys now. Mike leaves from work. Good for him. Oh, wait, Mike, what are you doing with the tape? Why are you taping that door, Mike?
Yeah, he's taping the lock on the door.
Kristen and the girls leave, and surprise, Kristen also had planned to tape the door. Seeing that it's been taped already, she just shrugs and leaves. Like, who could have done that? And also, if you are yourself planning to sneak into a place and you're doing the tape trick and you see that someone has already taped the door for that night, I would not be going back because obviously someone is already having plans to get back in here when no one's around. Why?
Well,
why?
She's young and she's dumb. Okay. Problem solved.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mike hits the library to read up on his mystical symbols and runes. He is directed by the librarian to the occult section, which is in the 666 Dewey Decimal Classification. But that's not how the Dewey Decimal Classification works. So just to say, it's not. It's like occult and stuff like that. It's like usually like 130s or something. Anyway.
Interesting. But yeah, so Mike is flipping through this book.
Yeah, I'm getting to that right now. Mike tries to match the symbol from the murder in one of the books, and he finds that some of the pages have been cut out from the book. Ooh, scary, mysterious. Who could have done that? It was Nazis. It's always Nazis.
All I knew was I was like, dude goes to the library, flips through a book, swastika.
Yeah.
Don't mention the swastika.
No.
I mean, at this point, I was like, I get that the swastika was or is a symbol in Hinduism. That means well-being or good luck.
Yes.
But that's not what most people think of when they see a swastika these days.
No, unfortunately, no.
And mind you, I had not caught on to the Nazi thing by this point. So,
excuse me.
It was even at this point, I was like, that's weird. Why would you show me a swastika? What is it about the swastika? I thought we were talking about elves. Like, what's happening here?
Were you very confused?
I was very, very confused.
Christian and the girls meet up at the store and sneak in, removing the tape from the door. And this is before Mike gets back. Which means Mike shows back up and the door is locked. Bummer. The girls split up. Christian puts the tape back on the door, so the guys they had invited can get back in because I think it was Amy. Amy had untaped the door, and that's why it had relocked for Mike. So Kristen goes back and puts the tape back on. And then they split up, and Amy and Brooke go to the sporting goods for some reason. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. And then they plan to meet up in lingerie. Mike goes back to the door with a crowbar he's found, but it opens again thanks to Christian. And Mike then removes the tape once again, locking the door. Wow.
I don't know. I feel like the sporting goods thing, maybe they were planning on camping.
Oh, well, I think that is when they set up the tents for later. That might be it, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I heard mall camping is like the best type of camping.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not true at all. I don't think so. I don't know.
I mean, that would be kind of cool, honestly.
It would be interesting until you get fucking trespassed out of the store.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're one of those bad boys or girls, you know, maybe that's what you do.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Lingerie fight. That's all.
Yes.
That they fuss over what everyone's wearing. Amy's got this like very lacy, silky, like lingerie on with a rope. Brooke has found like a top and a skirt, and also Kristen is wearing like a top and a skirt. Like Brooke really wants to like, or is it Amy really wants to get it on, apparently. Mike is living in the basement of the store now. He's studying the book and just like saying some random words as he's studying. He then hears the girls giggling and stuff and goes out into the store to, you know, find them or find the source of the sound. The girls are in the cosmetics now, playing with makeup, you know, just girly things. Mike interrupts the girls and asks what they're doing there, and Kristen figures out that he's the one that taped the door earlier. They make a deal not to bug each other and that they won't rat each other out either. And they like split ways.
I mean, at least they're, you know, in it together. You know, doing the illegal shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to report each other because then they're going to be like, why were you there?
Right.
And that's also illegal. So, yeah, I mean, mind your business, people. Yeah. No one's getting hurt. They ain't stealing or anything.
Yeah, I go to jail, you go to jail.
And they're to hook up and kiss boys. And Mike just needs a place to sleep.
Give me a big old kiss. Give me a kiss.
At home, the grandfather questions Christian's whereabouts. The mom is like, I don't know, at a friend's house or something, not really giving a damn. Surprise. The Nazis then inform him that she is in fact not at a friend's house.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Back at the store, the girls' dates have showed up and are arguing who is going to get with who. Lovely. Such amazing guy talk. Love it. But the door's locked again, and the guys decide to go back to get a tire iron so they can pry the door open. Jesus. The girls are inside deciding who or which tent they're going to get, which display tent they're going to get. So the plan is to have sex in display tent inside a department store. This movie is so 80s, 90s. Honestly, it's a ride.
This movie is the epitome of dumb.
Elegant words there.
Thanks.
Elegant words.
It took me a while to church that one up.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Christian tells Brooke that she's not going to do it with the guys and she's saving herself for someone special. Brooke then asks her how she's going to stop them. Girl. Christian tells her just to say no because it scares the hell of them, and Brooke replies, I'd rather just go through with it than get into a confrontation. Like, it's just easier. Girl.
Wow.
That is rape culture in a nutshell. That is it.
But, you know, for the times.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like, mind blown. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
The girls then hear a bunch of banging and think it's the guys trying to break into the department store. But it's actually the Nazis breaking in. And also there's a dead body that's not explained, but now rethinking about it is probably one of the teenage boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it must have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The alarm goes off for the store, and the Nazis begin to search for Kristen. The girls start looking for the guys, trying to find each other, and Mike finds the dead body at the door. Amy goes down the elevator to find her guy, but is greeted by the Nazis. They try to get some answers out of her, but she's, a teenage girl in the 80s, so she's just kind of hysteric. She's just, freaking out. Then it's suggested that they shoot Amy in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty crazy. I was just like, oh no, Santa's gonna have to break some heads.
Mm-hmm. Kristen spots the Nazis, or spots and hides from the elf. That is, like, she sees the elf in the store. Kristen spots and hides from the elf, because it's also found its way to the department store again. Mike then spots the Nazis and makes a run to Kristen, as they shoot at him. Mike grabs a gun from the department store because, it's the 80s. There's guns and ammo in the store. Mike also spots the elf and asks, like, what the fuck? And Kristen says it's a troll. Brooke finds Amy's dead body in the elevator and loses her mind.
Like, are we not sure that the elf is actually just like Golem or Smeagol, maybe?
Pretty sure it's an elf.
I don't know.
It looks like a version of that mask from the Goosebumps books. I forget the name of that series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all like teeth and pointy nose and bald head. It's not like Legolas elf. You know what I mean? It's ugly, and I think it's naked running around. So
like if like a leprechaun and Legolas had a baby.
No, not even that. Like a leprechaun and a troll and then a seal had some sort of offspring, that it was all this like very short, gray, rubbery skin, naked, toothy, ugly thing.
And even then it was still a test tube baby.
Yeah.
Like,
gross. This is an experiment gone wrong.
Yeah.
Almost, literally. There's more shooting between Mike and the Nazis, and Brooke finds herself in the display storage with all these mannequin pieces and spots the elf. It chases her around the basement, and then meanwhile, Mike and Christian are making a run, but this girl bumps into everything. She bumps into the table. She like trips over some stuff. She's just all over the place. Brooke is then discovered by the elf, and it attacks her, cutting her with a small steak knife. He chases her around the floor before stabbing her and finishing her off. Yeah, poor Brooke. The Nazis finally realize that Christian is actually with Mike, and they stop shooting at him because they don't want to hurt Kristen. They hear the police coming and shit then, and Mike and Kristen find Brooke's body. Mike examines the body for a moment and then finds another symbol, like drawn out in the blood. Or it's the same symbol, but it's drawn out in her blood.
So when who was it, Brooke, that got stabbed by the elf? Yeah, it was Brooke. So
yeah, Brooke was stabbed by the elves, and then Amy was shot by the Nazis.
So I loved how, and I'm being sarcastic here, but when the elf draws back the knife and then he like thrusts down with this knife,
mm-hmm.
and then there's no sound or anything. It's just this blank stare from Brooke.
Yeah.
To signify that she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, bro, what kind of fucking death scene is that? It's terrible is what it is. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the best, like, scenes for this, really.
Yep.
So when the police arrives, the detective berates Mike and blames his drinking on him losing his job and everything that's happening to him. Mike then tries to convince him that what he saw was real, And the detective gives Mike 24 hours to figure out what's going on. The manager then berates Kristen and blames her for everything happening and fires both her and Mike.
How are you going to give Mike 24 hours to figure out what's going on? Like, isn't that your job? Like, you are the detective.
We know not to count on cops in these movies. They are never doing their job correctly.
Just soaking up a paycheck, dude.
Yep. And then somehow the elf has taken Brooke's body and stashed it somewhere. I think it's in the basement of the house. And it looks like it's going to eat her, I guess. But then it gets distracted by like a rat or something. I don't know. I don't know why they needed to share that information.
I don't know. Yum.
At Christian's house, Mike has told the mom and the grandfather about what happened. And the mom automatically blames drugs. She refuses to listen and then calls the cops. The grandfather stops Mike and questions him. And Mike is like, it's exactly what I said. The grandfather tells him that there are forces at work and that Mike doesn't understand. Mike then spots another symbol in the house, carved in like the wood floor, before he leaves. In his car, Mike references the book again and states the name of a professor in a university.
Mike doesn't seem to be the most like educated person.
No.
So how he knew this professor's name?
I think it's in the book with the symbols.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
The grandfather tells Kristen to pack so he can get her out of there. And she confronts him about what's going on, but he's very cryptic and says there's a lot of things he hasn't told her, obviously. Mike ventures to the university, and there's this exchange. He bumps into one of the students who is a total bitch to him. Like, there's no point in this interaction. There's dialogue and everything, and she's just being a bitch to him. I don't understand why. Like, nothing happens to her later. She doesn't come back up. It's just...
No, he walks in and he's smoking what I assume is a cigarette.
Yeah, it's a cigarette.
And she's like, there's no smoking in here. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry about that.
Well, they bump into each other and she drops all her books. And then, yeah.
But I love how he asks her where Professor so-and-so is or whatever. And she points him in the direction. And... he goes to walk away and he's just like, all right, thank you. Merry Christmas, and he's continuously fucking puffing on the cigarette.
Yeah.
He walks away.
Mike don't give a fuck. He has no cares.
Nope. I mean, if anybody was going to be Santa, you'd want it to be Mike.
Yeah. Mike as Santa would be pretty badass. Like, he he's a rough guy.
Well, I think that's what the intention was, because Mike in this movie, he's like this big burly dude.
He's got a beard. He's an older man, silver.
Yeah. So he's supposed to be Santa. Mm-hmm. Taking out the elves.
Kristen continuously calls him Santa in the movie as well.
Yeah, even earlier she called him Santa like at the beginning of the shootout part, and I was just like, he probably has a real name,
Yeah, he even offers it to her, and she's like, "Nah, I'm gonna call you Santa."
Yeah.
So Mike finds Professor Fitzpatrick, who I guess studies symbols or occult. Doesn't really tell us what he studies or what he, teaches, and shows him one of the symbols. And Fitzpatrick does this info dump with a lot of information about the symbol, like the symbol's meaning and where it's from. And finally, Mike's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "It's one of the small. It's like it's a symbol that has to do with these small two-legged creatures that we call elves."
Like,
it's a lot of information, just rambling that doesn't really make too much sense, because he goes into like the creation of Earth and like Adam and Eve and stuff and creatures. It's just a lot.
I just zoned out. Like, the funniest thing to me about this scene was when he first walks in and we first see the professor. He's puffing on this fucking pipe.
Yeah.
Just billowing smoke all over the fucking place.
Well,
and
he's allowed to smoke there. Obviously. He works there. That's the rule, right? If you work there, you can smoke.
I was like, she just told us there's no smoking in here, okay? And you're over here fucking with your peace
Puffing
pipe.
away.
Yeah.
Yep. Fitzpatrick then goes on to spill some more beans, and apparently Nazis believed in elves, and that he then tells Mike that Professor O'Connor is more up to date with like Nazis and stuff. Also Nazis are following Mike now as well. Back at the house, the grandfather has a glowing piece of something that drips on, like he puts something on this like rock, these pieces of stuff that he's been collecting, and he puts like a drop of some water or something, and it glows. Then it wraps it up with a silver cross. It's never explained what it is or what it's meant to do or anything like that. Kristen's mother then lets her know that cops told her exactly what happened and that Amy and Brooke have actually died. And Kristen goes in to hug her mother, who doesn't open up at all. And she just kind of like leans onto her. The staging is crazy. The body language here is just so sad. And because the mother has her arms crossed, and Kristen just puts her arms on her shoulders and like leans her head towards her mom or something. And it's just like her mom's not having any of it. And it's just so emotionally like sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like her mom like not wanting to embrace her and stuff like that just tells me like her mom doesn't really want anything to do with her.
No, absolutely not.
It kind of makes me curious, like, was Kristen even her daughter, to be honest?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It is weird.
You know she was.
I know, but
you watched the movie. You know what happens.
There is some weird familial stuff coming up.
Yeah. I mean, the whole family's fucking weird.
Yeah. So.
Kristen brings up her dad, and her mother explains how much like him she is. Then she just turns on Kristen again. She begins to blame Kristen for what happened. She rebuttals by telling her she wished her mom had died instead of her dad. Her mom then tells her that if you want to talk to him, go down to the study and talk to him. Fuck. Kristen's mom then tells her straight out that her grandfather is actually her father and grandfather. She then begins to like beat on Kristen like it's her fault. Like, lady, you are fucking nuts. You are absolutely fucking nuts.
When she said the whole your grandfather and father thing, I was like, hold up. Wait a minute. What do you mean he's her father?
Both.
Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna say it's a figure of speech.
No, it's
just an expression.
She means what she said. Like she said the words and she means them.
I don't think that means what she thinks it means.
No, it does.
I don't know.
What? You've watched the movie, right?
I didn't want to do this.
So God. Mike makes it to Professor O'Connor's house and bursts into his home. He tells him that it's important and the professor is like, how dare? He convinces him to tell him about the elves and the Nazis. And this is right in front of this man's family. Like his wife and two like young daughters are just sitting at the dinner table listening to this shit. But anyways, he tells him there are two thoughts about the elves. The first is that the elves were the perfect soldiers for the Nazis. And the second is that they were a genetic experiment. That the elves had some sort of special gene in their sperm to produce the master race. And that they needed to impregnate a virgin from the Aryan race under a full moon on Christmas Eve.
So it was at this point during my watch of this film where I finally got the connection between the Yahtzees and the elves. Also, he says that the elves were supposed to be like assassination teams or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're like the perfect soldiers and stuff.
I was sitting there just thinking to myself, like, could you imagine like sitting at a dinner table or some shit, and then all of a sudden a bunch of fucking elves bust in, and you just get fucking got. You got murked by some elves. Are they like still naked and using like melee type weapons and knives and stuff, or are they like in SWAT uniforms with like I don't know.
rifles and shit.
In my mind, they're like kitted out, right? They're fucking just stacked in this fucking tactical gear, dude. Like, could you imagine a bunch of elves with like fucking NVGs and shit, just busting in,
swinging in on like ropes that are hanging from a helicopter outside.
So they're just like fucking Bravo 6 going dark.
That's crazy.
Just like, you know that fucking sound when Sam Fisher, Splinter Cell, puts on his fucking NVGs, that fucking...
The wiring sound? Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be wild. I would play, like, if that were a video game, I'd play the shit out of that game, dude.
Elf Assassins?
Yeah.
Oh, Elf SWAT.
Oof.
SWAT Elves or something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So back at Christian's house, her grandfather tries to explain what he did and while and why he did it while the mom is upstairs getting ready for a bath. The grandfather goes into more detail about what happened and that he did it to create Kristen. And it's just some wacky Nazi bullshit. It's pretty much he impregnated his own daughter to create a perfect impure Aryan.
Mm-hmm.
Aryan? What is it? Aryan?
Aryan,
like woman.
Yeah.
And that's how they got Kristen.
Yeah.
The shit is just absolutely wild. Also, the mom is like in the bathroom having a breakdown. She's just reapplying the lipstick over and over again in the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, she had this like really like the psychotic break. She looked like Arthur from the new Joker movie, just fucking, laughing because he can't not laugh, I guess. Yeah. Pretty sad.
There's a sequence of Mike being followed by the Nazis, and if you want to tell them like about that, because I just
the only part I really remember was the fucking car on fire part.
Yeah, so the Nazis are following Mike, and they have put a bomb on his car, and somehow they crash. And Mike somehow survives the crash, and then the car blows up.
Well, so what I remember Mike reaching in, I think, the glove box, and he pulls...
Oh, that's right. No, yeah, go ahead. You know what happened. Yeah.
So he pulls out this fucking bomb. It looked like a pipe bomb.
I thought it was like sticks of dynamite with like a timer on it.
Kinda. It looked really fucking Acme.
From the glove box.
And then, so he decides to just jump out of the car. Mm-hmm. And then the car blows up. Yeah. It bursts into flames. And then this fucking Nazi guy pulls up and gets out of his car. And he's just watching this car on fire. Like, he did not just see fucking Mike jump out of the car.
No.
And then Mike comes up out of fucking nowhere and just fucking knocks this dude's fucking block off, man. Yeah. And like, the Nazi dude... Mike's sitting there beating this fucking dude's face in, and he's just staring at him. Like, the Nazi dude's just looking up at him.
Well, that's because it turns out he had like a cyanide pill or something, because then his mouth starts foaming and stuff. Yeah. But where the bomb came from?
I don't know. I think I'm just chalking it up to I've zoned out before this, so I didn't catch it.
No, because I remember Mike pulling it from the glove box. Yeah. And that's it. Like, we don't see a Nazi put it in there. We don't see Mike put it in there. It's just there. Yeah. Just magic bomb.
For some reason, when I first saw it, I was like, Mike, what are you doing with that? Like, where did you get a bomb from? It didn't occur to me that the Nazis put it in there. But, oh well, Nazis are going to do Nazi shit. But, oh well.
So back at the house, the mom gets into the bath. Also, we get this very determined and purposeful like zoom in on her like tits for some reason, but we don't really see them. I don't know what that was about. The elf begins to mess around the house, and Kristen is upstairs with her brother, ignoring her grandfather. In the bath, the elf pushes the electric radio into the bathwater and kills the mom. Nice.
When that happened, I was like, yeah, hell yeah. You get what you deserve.
Even the elf is like nodding as he watches her die.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding. Like, the puppet is nodding. Mike shows up to the house, which is now dark because the electro bath blew out the power. They find the mom's body, and Mike's like, "Yeah, let's go. She'll be fine. Let's just go." They're stopped by the grandfather, who convinces Mike that he wants to protect Kristen and that they need to listen to him. The grandfather does another info dump of all the information we know, and he reveals that the symbol Mike keeps seeing is the insignia of the original Nazi party. The little brother asks if they're going to be okay, and Christian answers, "No, Willie. Grandfather is a Nazi." I hate how many times I've said Nazi, by the way.
Yeah, dude. I at least said Yahtzee one time.
Yeah,
so I mean, there is that.
Mike, gets caught up on what's going on, and what the grandfather explains that the offspring of an elf and a pure Aryan will bring forth the Antichrist.
Of course it will.
To prove his point, he takes Christian's sketchbook and completes the Art Deco boobs into swastikas, claiming that Kristen drew it from her subconscious. He then tells her that she has to kill the elf, and reveals the red thing that, like, the little bits and pieces of stuff that he's been, like, collecting is, like, this red crystal. And he, it's some sort of magical crystal. It doesn't really explain what.
It looks like a ruby or something like that.
He's just, here, use this. Yeah. The Nazis are back and begin recording the family for some reason before Mike attacks the guy. The grandfather whispers something to her, to Kristen, and the Nazi grabs her and Willie before they can escape. The grandfather tries to kill one of the Nazis, but then is thrown from his wheelchair, and the Nazi shoots him. Mike grabs the Nazi, giving Kristen and Willie a chance to flee, but leaving the magical crystal behind.
Yep. Even when they left, I was like, you're going to need that.
Yeah, you're supposed to have that. Like, you could have grabbed that. What, 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Oh, well.
The Nazi is able to get away from Mike and chases after Kristen. The siblings run into the woods as the Nazi just floors it into the woods, and they're like, it's like a Jeep just going through the woods. He crashes and begins to chase the pair by foot. Kristen and her brother find the original spot where the elf climbed out of the ground. The Nazi finds Kristen, because there's only one left. And she then falls to the ground and, like, twists her ankle. And he tries to calm her down, but is then shot by the elf.
It's like, where did the elf get his hands on the strap from?
I don't know. He found it on the ground,
Bro.
probably. In a department store. He's been holding on to it. I don't know where he's been keeping it.
I don't know. But, I mean, he probably be keeping it in nature's pocket. Maybe. He's like, you gotta keep that motherfucking thing on you.
Willie tries to drag Kristen away, but she tells him to run away and grab the crystal out of the study. Kristen then tries to crawl away from the elf as it crawls up her body. The elf then gets distracted by a bug on the ground and picks it up and eats it. Little snack, little protein. Willie makes it back to the house and the crystal is gone. But then Mike pops up and hands the crystal. Good save, Mike. You didn't have to do that. You could have left it where it was. But
hey, man, Santa be giving out the gifts.
I guess so.
He got a big old bag of tricks.
Sure. Troy, sure.
And them tricks is for kids.
Okay.
Oof.
Back in the woods, Kristen is still struggling with the elf. Willie kind of gets lost in the woods and starts to call out for her, and Kristen calls him over to her, and she then takes the crystal from Willie, but is still confused as to what to do with it. There's a flashback to the picture she drew of the Art Deco boobs. I'm not sure what that told her to do, really. She does mention that her grandfather told her that it was inside her. Or something like that. It's very cryptic.
Yeah.
Kristen then crawls after the elf, which for some reason fucked off when Willie got there. Like, Willie showed up and the elf was like, I'm gonna crawl away, walk away now.
I mean, it's because Willie's a pervert.
True.
And elf don't fuck with no perverts.
True. She then raises the crystal and doesn't stab the elf. No, that would make too much sense. She instead yells something that I'm not going to repeat and stabs the ground where the elf emerged, causing it to blow up.
I don't even know what she said.
It was very inappropriate.
Okay.
The elf then turns into like vapor and fucks off back into the ground. And there's like this moment of distortion and there's like some wobbly and mist and some stuff going on in the scene. But Kristen and Willie kind of pass out, I guess. And when they wake up, the forest around them has been burnt down. We then see an image of a strange-looking fetus with a heartbeat as the end credits begin.
Yay.
Dude, this shit was wild.
Yeah, I'm guessing the fetus is supposed to tell us that somehow the elf procreated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it took Willie to get back. And at some point, it did kind of look like Kristen was a little defeated when we were getting those shot back to back from Willie to her and the elf. And she looked like she was still struggling with it. But yeah, by the time Willie got back, it kind of was like fucking off. And she was still like clothed and everything. So I don't know. I guess it is like suggested that she's pregnant with the Antichrist.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of information or any really neat facts I could find about this movie, which I found very disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to go over the basics. Elves is a 1989 American horror film directed by Jeffrey Mandel. Written by Jeffrey Mandel, Mike Griffin, and Bruce A. Taylor. Produced by Mark Paglia and Dan Haggerty.
I mean, for what it was, the movie wasn't the most terrible movie I've ever seen.
No.
Runner up, yes. But I would say that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be initially.
Yeah.
I think maybe had I found like a high def version of it or like something that I could really soak up, it would not have been as bad, but the storyline was still pretty wild.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
So Dan Haggerty as Mike McGavin, Julia Austin as Kristen, and then Deanna Lund as Kristen's mother, and Bora Silver as Kristen's grandfather. The film is noted for its low budget production and has garnered attention for its bizarre storyline and execution. The movie was filmed in Colorado Springs, Colorado. It did have a theatrical release, but nothing much about that. And the reason why the version we saw was on YouTube and how bad it was, this movie has never been released on DVD or Blu-ray.
Wow.
There's no like other copies other than like a VHS, which obviously people have copied and uploaded to other places. But
right.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
We can only watch it on YouTube.
And I get that this is the type of movie that really would have like a cult following, but not a big enough following for there to have been further, just distribution of. Yeah.
And it was kind of disappointing to like start trying to do research and find information about this thing and it not being as what I usually find. And that was disappointing because this could have, I'm sure there's some things and some stories about this movie that people could tell. Yeah. Especially about the production and everything. Right. But yeah, it was a wild ride. Is it something I would ever watch again? I'm not going to say no. Do I want to watch it anytime soon again? No, absolutely not. Maybe like give me 5 years and maybe I'll come back to it and rewatch it. But it's also, again, like Silent Night, Bloody Night. It's one of those movies. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. I can talk about this movie. It's crazy. It's a wild ride. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it was the better one because we had done a lot of slashers this month. And we had only done one other like creature monster, and that was gremlins. And everyone knows about gremlins.
Right.
But do they know about elves? Do they? Now they do.
Now you do. Absolutely.
Yep.
So, yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this movie?
Oh, I'd give it a 4.
A 4?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
4.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I feel like that gives it a fair wag, you know, because, I mean, like I always say, I mean, we've seen gator bait.
Yeah, would you rather watch this or Gator Bait?
Probably this. I'd rather watch anything than gator bait.
I love that we keep referencing Gator Bait as a way to determine if a movie is good or not. Like the rewatchability, which I've seen Gator Bait like 3 times.
Well, I mean, it being the lost episode, you know, and
the lore.
Maybe one day, maybe we would revisit it.
Yeah, we could do that.
And do an actual episode for Gator Bait, but that would not be anytime soon.
No, it would not be.
So, yeah, this is our last episode
Of 2024.
of 2024, or at least our last main episode. I think we're still gonna try to get are we still gonna try to do Terrifier before the end of the year?
I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because it's the 28th. So, I mean, we've got three days of 2024 left, and I don't think we're
True.
because we still have to do our Nosferatu episode,
True.
which would be our first episode of 2025.
Right.
So,
Okay.
which is a good way to start,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's going to be an intermission episode. Probably do that after we're wrapping up here.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. I guess that's it for us. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, of course, always.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to check out our other episodes where we dive into more eerie and thrilling films. You can always find us on Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Stay connected with us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky for updates and behind-the-scenes content. For more information and to explore our full episode library, visit our website at www.AndIMadeHimWatch.com. Your support means the world to us, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Share your favorite moments, suggest movies for us to cover, or just say hi. So as always, dear listeners, stay spooky.
Bye.